Hello and welcome to Cards Up coverage of the main event from the PokerStars Championship in Panama. 6 players currently remain, all vying for the nearly $300,000 top prize and hoping to be the second player to ever lift a PokerStars Championship trophy. Let's meet them now. The player in seat 1 took down a 5K event here in Panama during an LAPT 3 years ago, but now he's got a shot at the first ever PokerStars Championship from this stop. I pronounce his name wrong for a dumb joke. The Dream Diotti from Canada, Anthony Diott. The player in seat 2 is the youngest at the table, but considering he celebrated his 22nd birthday here this week, and he hails from the same town as Fedor Holz, he's probably got a lot of run good coming his way. From Germany, Robin Wozniacek. Seat 3 is arguably the most experienced player at the table with side event and local tour scores up the wazoo. And he's one of his home country's top MTT grinders. His online handle is New Flat, which he should be able to afford if he wins this thing. From Russia, Denis Timofeyev. The player in seat 4 has cashed on at least 4 continents around the world, but today he's looking to make his first in the 6-figure range. From Belgium, Jonathan Abdelatif. Much like his fellow countrymen, the player in seat 5 had some pretty near misses on his way to this final table. He's had results in Holland and the Bahamas and in his home country, but he's looking for his first live win. From Canada, Harpreet Gill. Our final tableist is an online killer and is familiar with this part of the world due to his post-Black Friday relocation. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so if he takes this thing down, we could have multiple car fires on our hands. From the United States of America, Kenny Smarin. Let's get one last round of applause for all the players here at the final table. Dealer Clara, you know what to do. Good luck, everybody.
And so play underway at the final table on the final day of the PokerStars Championship Panama main event. We finished play last night with 36 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock at level 24. So we pick up the action there with the blinds at 15,000, 30,000 with a 5,000 ante. No break at the end of that level. We'll roll straight into level 25 when the blinds go up to 2040. The shortest stack coming into play is Anthony Diott. He's got 15 big blinds. And as previously mentioned, Timofeyev is the monster stack with more than 130 bigs. Action underway. Hand number 1. Kenny Smarin folds under the gun. Anthony Diott passes. Round to the button, Jonathan Abdelatif. He folds as well.
Remember?
No small blind this hand. It was a walk for Harpreet Gill, who had ace-jack in the bag.
He told me not to play that hand. He was like,
Armani jeans.
there you go. He tells me I'm going to bust out with that hand yesterday. I looked at it, I was like, no way.
Should have shoved.
He's like, you're going to bust out, don't play ace jack. Yeah, so weird.
So Gill in the small blind, Smarin in the big blind. And that means it's the short stack, Anthony Diott, who's first to act. King 7 of spades. He folds. Wozniacek gives up the queen 3. Timofeyev with jack 9. And the chip leader is raising. Timofeyev makes it 70,000. Chip denominations on your screen right now. Smallest chips in play are the blue 5Ks. The yellows are 25K. And the bigger stacks have towers of white chips. The Panama Lights, 100K apiece. So Abdelatif has folded the button. Harpreet Gill with a decision in the small blind. He starts this hand with fewer than 25 big blinds. He's got pocket fours, and he lets it go. Round to Smarin in the big blind. And he passes. Raise and take it for the chip leader. Timofeyev closing in on the 4 million mark after just 2 hands at this final table. Luca Vivaldi just explaining to the players that there will not be a break when this level concludes. We'll roll straight into level 25 as we discussed a short while ago. And a reminder for those of you who've just joined us on PokerStars TV, things working a little bit differently here in Panama. We are in the same time zone as the live play. That's right, commentary has been recorded at the same time that the hands were played.
That was close, huh?
And that means you're hearing us 45 minutes after we speak. So apologies if we're a bit late addressing any of your questions and comments that you tweet using the hashtag PokerStarsTV or anything relevant that gets typed into the Twitch chat, twitch.tv/PokerStars. Under the gun race here from Wozniacek, the German student who qualified online for this event. He's raising with deuces. Round to the big blind, Anthony Diot. And Diot's got a hand, ace-jack. Joe Stapleton in the booth with me, James Hartigan.
Hello, my babies. Excuse me.
And Diot shoves, giving Wozniak a tough decision. He is going to call with deuces, and we have a classic race underway on only the 3rd hand of this final table.
Like the EPT versus the PokerStars Championship, one of these 2 hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Diot with the overs. Diot needing to connect, or we are already down to 5.
Sorry, can you do it? Yes.
The flop has a deuce on it, and Diot is down to just 1% equity. Likely to be drawing dead on the turn. Needs to see some kind of wheel card to give him some hope. That is not enough. Too little, too late. Anthony Diot eliminated in 6th place, cashing for $65,520.
Spoke to him last night in the bar as he came by. He was very happy to have made it this far. Obviously, he would have been the favorite to go out before today, and he managed to just stay out of trouble for a little while and laddered up a few spots. I'm sure he's pretty disappointed right now, but certainly given this or where he was supposed to have finished yesterday, I'm sure he would gladly take this.
Yeah, laddered up when James Salmon was eliminated last night in 7th place. And of course, this is a familiar place to him. He's played poker in Panama City before. In fact, the last time he was here, when the LAPT was visiting Panama, he won the 5K high roller, banking around 63K, a similar score to what he's just won for 6th place in this main event on the PokerStars Championship. So 5-handed, and Wozniacek closes the gap between him and Timofeyev. The German has 110 bigs. Timofeyev has 132 bigs. So hand number 4 sees Jonathan Abdelatif opening the action. The Belgian raising from under the gun +1. Abdelatif is 32 years old, comes from Aalst in Belgium. And it's interesting, Joe, you mentioned when you introduced the players today that Abdulatif has yet to have a six-figure cash, and yet he has total live earnings of $750,000. So
Yeah.
he's accrued a lot of smaller cashes.
Yeah, it's really weird, and especially the way he carries himself at the table and the way he seems so familiar with the tour and the other players. It really feels like he would have had bigger scores than that, especially when you look at his lifetime earnings.
So that was a 3-bet from Wozniacek with the ace-jack, which got a fold from the original raiser. The German student chips up to 3.4 million. Abdulatif has ace-jack suited under the gun. So we've gone to the flop here. The under the gun raise called by Timofeyev in the big blind. And an interesting flop, Joe. Abdulatif with the best of it by far. Second pair, top kicker, nut flush draw. Timofeyev, however, has got a no good flush draw of his own, plus a gut shot.
Yeah, this could get real ugly for Timofeyev. How good does it feel to be Jonathan Abdulatif right now, though? Top pair, nut flush draw. You just top two pair. The world is yours. Sorry, excuse me, not top pair. Up pair and the nut flush draw. Still pretty good.
Action goes check, check on the turn.
Of course it is top pair now.
The river card is the 4 of diamonds.
So Timofeyev way happier to not hit his flush draw than he thinks.
Yeah, the board is bricked out for him completely. He check called the C-bet on the flop of 90,000. Check, check on the turn. Oh, he might try a little bluff here. It's not going to work. 75,000.
Nerp.
On this board, is this just a call with two pair? Could he get value by raising?
It's a weird bet. I mean, this is a really small bet for a bluff. 75,000 to 370. I know I'm just calling here with two pair, but I think that your world-class players are going to know where they're at in this hand a little bit better than I would. There's not that much out there to be afraid of. The question is, can you get called by worse? And I think maybe you can.
There is the raise from Abdulatif. Quick fold from Timofeyev. Jonathan chips up to 44 big blinds. Harpreet Gill, by the way, now the shortest stack at the table following Anthony Diott's early elimination. But Gill still playing around 25 big blinds. He is not in the danger zone.
Not in the danger zone. I don't know what to do there if I should.
I just figure you're just going to say it every time I say the word.
I feel like we got to save it for actual danger zones.
Okay. New policy. I'm happy to go with it. Happy to roll with it.
Jonathan Talif has quite a healthy breakfast hidden under the table there. Is jealous. Yogurt, granola, fruit. Of course, he's Belgian, so it's probably covered in mayonnaise. So raise and take it. Bosnichek. Sure he's perfectly happy to not see a flop with 8-7 suited.
Yeah.
So this is hand number 7. After hand number 6 was a simple raise and take it for Wozniak.
I just realized we should have given away all our prizes yesterday. It's going to be tough to do today.
Hey, maybe we could do a competition we have to mail in. Answers on a postcard. Literally. Under the gun raise from former chip leader Kenny Smarin. He lost that chip lead very late into play on day 5. The hand that has been talked about extensively in the last 12 hours. The huge call that Denis Timofeyev made. He's opened with ace-8 of clubs to 70,000, and his nemesis, Timofeyev, has called in position on the button with king-jack of spades.
Marin Smarin. It's so weird that I was in cards down mode all week, and like I'm ignoring them. Like I'm not even looking for them. So we talk about pre-flop pot odds, 40,000 to call, 210,000 in the middle, getting better than 5-1. 9-3 suited, probably one I'm not going to mess around with either.
So heads up to the flop, and that flop is king high, king 7-5 with only 1 club.
9-3 of hearts, breathes a sigh of relief.
Smarin currently 3rd in chips. Has around 55 big blinds. He will continue this flop for 75,000. Well, no way that Timofeyev folds, and I would imagine that 90% of the time this is a just call situation. Counting out 3 yellow chips, and that'll take us to the turn.
Yeah, no reason to raise there.
Queen of Hearts doesn't change anything. Smarin's equity reduces to 7%. He's drawing to an ace.
Doesn't change anything, and if you have top pair, you're not super worried about this card.
Does Smarin fire another barrel is the question. No, he checks. Great to see Timofeyev smiling in his avatar and also smiling at the start of play today. He's had such a serious demeanor for the last few days, but I guess that's his game face.
Yeah, definitely before things started this morning, he was... I actually really love those moments before the final table gets going, especially when it's guys like this who this is, you know, the biggest stage they've probably ever been on, and it's usually all smiles, good times, great oldies. Patting each other on the back. Everyone's rails out there. Timofeyev brought his girlfriend. Could be his wife. I don't know. He's got a lady with him.
225,000 the bet on the turn. Gets a fold from Smarin. And Denis is back up to 3.9 million, which is the stack he started play with. 7 hands played so far. 20 minutes until the blinds go up to 2040. Yeah, Abdulatif has brought a feast to this table, clearly.
Yeah, it's a really nice breakfast plate. I had a conversation with Harpreet Gill this morning. He looked at me and he goes, "Hey, you the commentator?"
Uh-oh.
And of course, my line was, "One of them," so I can get out of whatever this thing is, and I can always be like, "Ah, that wasn't the one that said that." He's like, "Who's the one that's making fun of my bag? Who's the one that's?" He said that bag cost $2,000. I'm not taking it off.
Was it you making fun of his bag?
Well, the audience, I think, was mostly. It was giving a couple people in the audience anxiety. Like, when someone comes into your house and they don't take their coat off?
Yeah. It looks like he's wearing a seatbelt. He's strapped in. So a 6-6-3 flop here. Abdulatif raised the button with king-queen. Kenny Smarin defended his big with king-5.
Really wishful thinking. To hope that king 5 is going to get there on this board. You're like, maybe a 4? Can I get a 4? Can I get a free 4? Can I get a free 4? And no.
Smarin checks. Abdulatif with 2 overs to the board. Currently the best hand. Continuation bets. 180,000 in the middle. Abdulatif makes it 60K. So 1/3 pot.
Really excited to see this play with hole cards. We'll be able to get a much better sense of these players' style than we were the rest of the week. Wow, we got a king high call.
Interesting. Ace on the turn. That might slow things down. So of the 5 players remaining, we know that Wozniacek is not a pro. He is a student, but clearly is an accomplished player with a lot of online winnings. Timofeyev is a pro. Abdulatif is a pro. Smarin is a pro. Harpreet Gill describes himself as a recreational poker player from Vancouver. Abdulatif does fire a second barrel, 105,000.
Good on him. You know, this dynamic button versus big blind. He knows that Smarin knows he's going to continue with all of his hands on the flop. Wow, this is getting crazy. I mean, king high could be the best hand here. And pretty good run out for Abdulatif. Assuming Smarin's not just floating to make a move here.
No, he's not.
Nope. Abdulatif's going to keep firing, and I'm wondering what better hands he's hoping to fold out. I don't think he's really going to value bet king queen, although we know in this case, there we go. That's the check behind I was expecting.
Is better.
Abdulatif adds 270K to his stack. Moves over the 50 big blind mark. Kenny Smarin down to 45 big blinds.
This isn't Kenny's bio that he's got a Philadelphia Eagles tattoo on his arm. I don't see it.
Do you think it might be hidden under his sleeve?
It's got to be further up or like hidden like in that jungle on his right arm.
You think he's ashamed of it?
No, Eagles fans are ashamed of nothing. Despite every reason to be ashamed.
Yeah, as Joe mentioned at the start of the day, he relocated after Black Friday, spends his time between Costa Rica and Colombia. Has also traveled to Europe a few times. Back in season 12 of the EPT, he won the 10K high roller in Prague. And I heard the words all in there. Gill open shoves from the button with 7s.
Started with a salmon, but we ended up with just a gill.
No action on that shove.
A gilly, a gilly, a gilly, a gilly. Getting settled in there.
These are the final 5 from a field of 366. Abdulatif kind of spaced out there, didn't realize that he was meant to act. Harpreet Gill with Queen Jack raises 70,000.
Man, it just must be so fun to play a final table. It's 5-handed, so you get to play everything, right? It's not like you're 8-handed on day 1 and you got to fold Queen Jack under the gun.
Timofeyev with his favorite hand, Jack 7.
Oh, yeah. The Jack 7 hero. And you're also, you're free rolling, right? Like every person who goes out, you make more money. So much fun.
Wow, he decides to let it go. Raise and take it for Gill. Playing 790,000. Currently a 26 big blind stack. Blinds up in just over 12 minutes time.
Somebody on Twitch just said something rude. Now, I know we can't see the comments live, but I'm sure that that's probably accurate.
The real power of the hand. Don't believe it happened twice.
What kind of a cheap-ass trick is that?
Smarin with 5-4. He raises. So obviously over the course of this tournament, Joe, we've had some short days, 5 levels instead of 6 on day 2, for example, 4 levels instead of 5 on day 3. There is the chance that today is the long day, that today goes the distance. Relatively deep, we're still at that stage in the tournament where all the blind levels are 90 minutes. This could very easily be a 12-hour final table.
James, I'm in.
So 5-4 against 6-5, and it's the 6 on the flop. Abdulatif had his opponent dominated pre. Mega domination now, 90% favorite.
Mega domination.
Action goes check, check. Okay, we have some straight draws now.
Eight for the chop? 8? Is that a chop? 5,
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 5, 6, 7. Yep. I got it. I got it.
Well done, Joe.
It was rhetorical.
Of course it was. A bet of 120,000 gets a fold from Smarin. Abdulatif on the ascent. Up to 1.6 million. Average stack, by the way, 2.2 million with 5 players remaining. So only 2 players out of the 5 have above average stacks. That said, Abdulatif and Smarin very comfortable, and Gill still hovering around that 25 big blind mark.
This is why average doesn't always matter.
Sure.
It's big blinds. Everybody's doing just fine. Obviously, Harpreet would like a little more breathing room, but plenty of players are perfectly comfortable playing 26 big blinds, especially at a final table. And Jonathan has to outlast one more player to get that first ever 6-figure score.
Between Europe and Asia.
Ace King for Smarin.
Something like this.
He raises to 70,000. Gill with 3-4 of clubs in the big blind, defends. The flop is King, Queen, 8, only one club. Smarin with top.
Ace King does exactly what you want Ace King to do. Top pair, top kicker.
A bet of 75,000 wins him the pot. So a short while ago, we lost Anthony Diot in 6th place, and he spoke on the floor to our very own Matt Broughton.
So how much longer are you here in Panama, and what plans have you got?
I think I'm going to stay here for a couple more days, maybe check out the Panama Canal on Wednesday, and then head back to normalcy and start grinding online again.
Is that what's next for you? That's big on the calendar.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to keep working and try to make some more money.
Well, look, congratulations again, and enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
What a sweet Canadian boy. Matt, I'm surprised. I'm talking to Matt as if he's in the room, but I think he's listening. I'm surprised that you didn't ask that nice Canadian boy if he knew how the canal got its name.
Oh, Jesus.
Because when they were building, the two Canadian guys that were building the Panama Canal, they had already named Panama.
I'm so sorry.
But then they were like, what should we call this thing that helps people get from one side of the ocean to the other?
I don't have the strength to stop him. I apologize.
And one of them is just like, well, it should have a CA, and then it should have an NA, and then it should have an L, and right before he could finish spelling the Panama Canal, he dropped dead because he was so exhausted from discovering and naming things, Canada, Panama, Canal, that it actually, the last A never made it.
Gill's got 8s. There's been an under the gun raise from Timofeyev with the Queen 9 suited. Gill with a medium pair.
He's the shortest stack. Got to be pretty tempting to take the guesswork out of this. 23 big blinds is kind of a big shove.
Well, he open shoved a similar size stack with 7s not that long ago, so this is not that surprising a move. Glass triangle of death presented to Gill. Action back on Timofeyev, and he will fold the Queen 9.
I'm a fan of playing it that way. I think most people are going to play it that way. People, just, you know, the more nuanced poker players are going to have different strategies for playing what they consider to be a short stack. For some people, 23 big blinds isn't that short.
In about 40 minutes.
Now, obviously, despite the fact that we are in a different time zone to our audience today, we are still going to have a free roll this afternoon, and there's still going to be bounties on myself, Joe, and Matt. Please don't be offended, by the way, if at various points in that tournament one of us has to sit out. There's a lot going on today. It's the final table. Sometimes we have to be out on the floor. But regardless of that, there is the chance to claim some money for knocking us out. Plus, there's $2,000 in the prize pool. We'll bring you the details, including the all-important password, very soon.
Oh, somebody's already registered for the free roll. My guess is it's James Hardigan.
Nope. Not me.
Who is it? Someone from Brazil.
Wow. Someone actually guessed the password. I did say this earlier on, that because we tend to theme the passwords, after a while it becomes quite easy for people who have worked out the pattern to guess what the next one's going to be. Well, let's just pick up the action here. Hand number 15. Smarin open to 65,000 with the 8-7 suited. Wozniak with the ace-queen has 3-bet out of the small blind. Action back on Smarin, who does have the button, does have position.
I'm trying to guess the password. It's not empanada. Okay.
A 9-5-3 flop with 2 diamonds. Ace high still good, but Smarin has a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw.
He can get a free card if he wants it.
Plus his 7 and an 8 are still live.
I don't think you're going to get too many folds here. When you bet, Wozniak's going to be pretty reluctant to give up this 3-bet pot. Smarin's going to go for it anyway.
Yeah, bets his draw. 165 into 465.
I just wonder what also he's repping here. I guess just a pair. You don't expect him to have too many 9s when he calls the 3-bet. There's lots of pairs and there's big aces that he wouldn't necessarily want to get a 4th bet in with. I said Wozniak would be reluctant to fold. Maybe he does.
Did he just say all in?
I think he did.
Wow. Shoves on Smarin, who's forced to fold.
He also could not understand what Smarin was repping.
In the beginning of March.
And with that hand, Wozniak takes the chip lead. 3.78 million. He has got 126 bigs. Timofeyev, 122 bigs. Smarin hovering around the 30 big blind mark now. Harpreet Gill still the low man at the table. And number 16.
Did you hear my Panamanian Freudian slip this morning when I said the name Fedor Horse?
Yes. I would have just kept going and pretend I never said it.
I laughed. That was the problem. It was so stupid.
Just get through it, and then people are like, did he say Holtz or horse?
I was like, no, I was actually talking about Fedor Horse. Different guy. Also very good at poker.
Action folded around to the blinds. Timofeyev in the small has king 8.
Oh, yeah, solid small blind hand. Huge.
He raises to 100,000. Abdelatif is in the big, and he has a dominated hand, 8-7.
Hand you don't mind peeling the flop with. You don't expect to be dominated.
9-9-6. Not a bad flop for 8-7,
Yeah.
I would say.
Hopeful.
No c-bet from Timofeyev. Abdelatif takes over the betting. $130,000.
I think we could see a situation here where Timofeyev folds. That's what I was going to say. And that's what happened. I swear that's what I was going to say. I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't.
Wait, no, I can't do that actually.
So we do have our final
You'll see.
PokerStars TV free roll of this Panama event coming up this afternoon, 4:15 Eastern Daylight Time, 9:15 Central European Time. $2,000 in the prize pool. You should know by now where to find it in the lobby. Just search PokerStars TV. And if you want to register, you are going to need the password. Remember, there are bounties still for this event on myself, Joe Stapleton, and Matt Broughton, who plays as Waster. $100 for knocking one of us out of the tournament. Register now using the password Cristobal, Cristobal. Cristobal is the password for today's PokerStars TV free roll.
And that, of course, is based on the Panamanian pastime of tarot card reading and psychic analysis. That's what they use as a crystal ball to read your future. Yes, James?
Absolutely, Joe. 100%. By the way, the delay will have caught up now in the sense that people will have started watching the stream.
Oh, hi.
So people are now just discovering the fact that we can't talk to them, so expect them to start talking to us.
Got it.
King 4 for Timofeyev. He has raised the button. Abdulatif has called out of the small blind with ace-3 of spades. Gil folds the big blind, so heads up to the flop. These two again, huh?
You guys.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Ace, ace, king. Abdulatif flops trips. Timofeyev pairs his king, and of course, seeing two aces out there with no re-raise pre from the small blind is going to make him think that that king is good.
Abdulatif, a little under-repped, but it looks like we're playing some pot control here from Team Feyev, which is good for him.
6 on the turn, and Abdulatif checks a second time. Delayed c-bet from Dennis.
Fire and dead.
Yeah, bet's roughly half the pot, 100,000.
I think a lot of the time, no matter what Abdulatif does here, assuming he doesn't fold, Timofeyev's going to... Well, maybe not. I was going to say Timofeyev is going to shut it down. You got to keep those big chips on the top, son. Well, I think there's a really good chance Timofeyev shuts it down now. Because the best case scenario, there's the check, check. Best case scenario, Abdulatif's calling you on the turn with a club draw. Clubs get there.
Running good.
Not a bad time to do that, huh?
Yeah. You know, Russian commentators bet on you.
Oh, they bet on me?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? To what?
One bet, $5, you win. It was
What are the
in top 50 maybe or 40.
50, yeah?
Yeah, in day 3 I think,
Oh, cool.
or day 4. 50 and 75.
That's the guy who doesn't
you-
like money.
If,
Do I get cards?
he gets 75 if you win.
So he's 25 to 1.
1 to
25?
15.
What am I saying? Yeah, wow. That's 125. Sorry, my math is all just retarded.
How are you playing?
How do I get here, right?
You're not the dumbest person to ever make a final table.
Enrique tweets to say, hi guys, looking forward to getting a shout out 45 minutes from now. We don't do shout outs, Enrique. You will not hear your name announced on this stream.
I'm definitely not saying Enrique's name.
Abdulatif raising the button with 10-9. Smaran with Queen 3 suited. He defends.
Okay, all right.
Two pair. Abbott.
Checks to the razor.
Abdulatif continuing. Think this is a check raise spot?
I don't think so. I think that this is a spot where you just call. I think that your opponent, this is such a dry board for a button raise that if your opponent doesn't have a queen, they can't continue, and you've got a queen, so the chances of them having one aren't very good. It's not just a queen, but, you know, there's just so few hands that your opponent can call a raise with. So I like a flat call there. I think that now you maybe ramp up the aggression a little bit. Now that you can be counterfeited a little more easily. There's a spade draw out there. There's Broadway draws. Your opponent could have hit a king.
Well, Abdulatif is not slowing down, is he? 180K now.
So the flip side of that is that if you think that your opponent's going to barrel off with all of their air balls too, you can certainly just call.
Yeah. Well, the Russian commentators who bet on Abdulatif are currently screaming at their monitors. Smarin decides to check raise turn, and he check raises for everything he's got.
You can hit a jack. Ah.
Yeah, Kenny?
Kenny's a funny name. Kenny might be a good name for that TSA bit I do. I'm going to write down Kenny.
Shares, I think. That's the site where you can bet on people to win. Like, I think Mike McDonald does it or something. There's some pretty big odds, man. Like 2.5 to 1. Like people have faith in you. I like it. Quite the challenge.
Timofeyev first to act here. Here's King 4 of hearts, and he's raised it to 80,000. The blinds, of course, went up 10 minutes ago. We're now playing level 25. 20,000, 40,000 with a 5,000 ante. That is a score in the ongoing Pong game. What are we at now?
I think it might be tied up now. Well, there was a half a point scored yesterday.
Yeah, I've got confirmation. It's 5.5, 5. So a half-point lead in the ongoing Pong match.
Left or right is up?
Left, of course.
Okay. Interesting. Tight.
Smarin's in the small blind. He's got hearts as well. Ace-6 of hearts.
The WTF Smodcast with Mark Smarin.
Three bet to 250,000. Wozniak with King 5 of diamonds.
Looks like he's about to throw up all the time. King 5's not that bad. Yeah, there's a little smile. And now he's stressed out. Timofeyev, let's go to. Nice move there from Smarin. A little pre-flop aggression, out of position. Suited ace. Doesn't even have to see a flop.
So Gil has dropped below the 20 big blind mark now that we've raised the blinds. Smaverin hovering around 35. Wozniacek still leads. He and Timofeyev are the big stacks with more than 3.2 million each.
You know, James, I saw something pop up on your Twitter timeline, and I've been banging on about Logan quite a bit. But I did not mention that I don't know if I did or not, I saw Get Out, and it's fantastic. Really, really good.
Too many films.
That one, you can wait. I mean, but when it does come on video or on demand or however you buy your movies these days, it's awesome.
Ace-Jack for Smarin. Raises the button. Wozniacek is calling out of the small blind. He's got an ace, ace-deuce.
Uh-oh.
Dennis has queen 5, and he's going to call as well. 3-way to the flop.
Queen 5 is live.
Ace, Jack 3, so top 2 for Smarin. Top pair for Wozniacek. Nada for Timofeyev. I imagine Smarin will continue here. 125,000.
Well, Wozniacek's got no choice but to just call.
Timofeyev can fold, and we'll go heads up to the turn.
Adios, muchacho.
9 of clubs. Well, this board just gets better and better for Smarin. He obviously has a lock on the hand. He's picked up the nut flush draw on the turn to go with top 2.
Do you want to make a full house, or do you want to make a flush? Or do you just want to keep your top 2?
Check, check.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Both players now with 2 pairs. Suffice to say, Smarin significantly better than Wozniacek's.
Such a classic river, though. You've got a really strong hand. Pretty much any card. Oh, no, wait. Now you could be losing to a 9. Come on.
Smarin value bets river pretty
Oh,
big.
Gets a call immediately.
330,000.
That's-
Snap called by Wozniacek.
That's going to leave a mark.
Smarin moves over the 2 million mark. Wozniacek is pretty much tied with Timofeyev now at the top of the leaderboard.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
Almost a smile. Almost a smile. There it is.
Well, before the start of play, we spoke to Kenny Smarin.
They're friends, man.
How you
They just
feeling?
want you to be-
Great. Another final table on a poker star stop for me. I won Prague High Roller before. I feel good. I'm confident. Lost a big one at the end of the night, but we'll get them back today.
Tell me about that big hand. Are you surprised he called? Because I imagine most people would fold in that spot.
I clearly expected him to fold. I was betting to get him to fold a jack. I would have shoved a lot of value hands that weren't nutted there as well, based on my reads of him. I'm not going to get into that right now because we're about to play the final table, but maybe after I win, we can have that conversation.
And what would it mean for you to win this event today?
Oh, be another title to add to my resume or whatever you want to call it. More money. Can't complain about that, and go forward.
And how do you feel about your chances, the position you're in with the chips and the players at the table?
I have a healthy stack. I have about 60 bigs. I'm a short-handed player. I have more six-hand experience than anybody. Countless millions of hands. So.
Well, back at the final table, Timofeyev has raised small to big. 120,000 with ace-queen. Abdulatif has defended his big blinds. They go to the flop, which is king, queen, 8. Second pair, top kicker for Timofeyev, and Abdulatif has 6 deuce of diamonds, so he's flopped a flush draw. check, check.
Yeah, Timofeyev doesn't continue.
7 of hearts on the turn.
I wouldn't expect him to check a second time. Got to go for value at some point. Hello. Hi. Gil.
Delayed C-bet from Timofeyev. 175,000. Called by Abdulatif. River card. 3 of hearts.
Brick. Really interested to see. I'm going to learn a lot today watching these guys play. I don't really know what you're supposed to do here. I feel like if you check, you're... You know what? I think you're supposed to check. Because if your opponent was on a draw and missed, you're going to win the pot anyway. You can get them to bluff at it.
Well, that's the key thing, isn't it? And that is the only way that Abdulatif could potentially win this hand. I mean, he must know 6 high is losing. So if it does get checked to him, his only hope is to take a shot at it.
I think sometimes when you bet here, if you're Timofeyev, you value cut yourself.
275,000 from Timofeyev.
But if he's betting, then that leads me to believe that maybe betting is the right move. I tend to go with the guy who's at the final table and has won hundreds of thousands of dollars online playing multi-table tournaments. He probably knows what he's doing. I guess since we can't interact with fans, should I just read my actual emails to people that are coming in? I got Amtrak points that are going to expire in 30 days.
You're going to book yourself a train journey somewhere to use them?
Maybe. I have 600 points. What do you think that gets me? I can share gift points. Who wants to buy my Amtrak points? To the highest bidder.
Oh. It's now 6.5-5 in the Pong match.
Who wants to ride a choo-choo train?
Smarin with pocket sevens. Raises from under the gun. Action is on. Timofeyev, who has reclaimed the chip lead, by the way. He's got jacks on the button.
2 jacks in the hole.
That's a re-raise from Timofeyev. 3-bet to 235,000.
Small blind out.
Big blind out. Back on Smarin. So what's the deal here?
Let's see. You have the effective stack.
Yes.
Start the hand with 50 big blinds. I know you're out of position, but I feel like sevens is not strong enough to put another bet in. Too strong to fold. I think calling is okay.
Wow.
Again, I'm going to say he's probably right. This dude, he's a professional sit-and-go player, I think, Smarin. So Final table, not that different from a sit and go.
20 minutes into this level, Timofeyev is the chip leader once again, 3.66 million. Robin Wozniak is second in chips with 3.16 million. Harpreet Gill is on the verge of the danger zone with 655,000, a 16 big blind stack.
That's the verge of danger zone.
I like it. Under the gun raise from Wozniak with 7-6 of diamonds.
Pretty hand. 7-4 is out. Gill's out. Easy defend, king 9 suited in the big blind.
Ace 9-4. One heart. Action check to the German, and he's c-betting. 130,000. More than half pot. Smarin calls with second pair, decent kicker. Turn card is a queen, which means Wozniak is officially drawing dead.
Looks like Smarin might just want to get the showdown now.
Oh, hello.
Walkie-talkie idle.
Check, check on the turn. The river card is the 8 of hearts.
Now Smarin checks here. Does Wozniak take a stab with 7 high? He
Nope.
does not. Plays it safe. Knows he's very likely to lose at showdown. Doesn't want to risk the chips. Been on a bit of a slide.
Smarin up to 2.2 million.
2-point tattooed million.
Hard one time. Hard one time.
Still 5 players in contention for the trophy, the title, and the first prize of nearly $300,000. Timofeyev, chip leader, first to speak. Opens with Jack 9. Makes it 80,000. We have Kenny Smarin on the button here. My bad. In the small blind with Ace Jack. He just calls, and Wozniak in the big blind also has an ace, ace 6. He calls as well. 3-way to the flop.
Domination, nation.
King, Jack 3. Second pair for both Smarin and Timofeyev. Obviously, kickers are a factor.
I think it's actually domination, nation.
Mind blown. Action has been checked to the pre-flop aggressor. Does he want to c-bet into 2 opponents with second pair? No. We'll go into the turn, which is an ace. 2 pair now for Smarin. Wozniak with a no-good top pair. You can see the percentages. He's drawing to a chop.
Yeah, everybody drawing dead to a chop. I mean, clearly not everybody. Smarin's not, but you know what I mean.
So the turn lead from Kenny Smarin, 135,000.
Even though I just turned top pair, if I'm Wozniacek, I don't love it. I don't love it in a three-way pot. 3 hearts out there. I really don't love this card. Might be a good action killer for Wozniacek.
This gets checked to showdown. 2-pair good. Kenny Smarin wins another pot and chips up to nearly 65 big blinds, not far behind Robin Wozniacek. And Jane Windsor has tweeted to say, in my humble opinion, viewers have more to gain by live discussion than by cards up. Just a reminder that due to some limitations in this part of the world,